Are we rolling? Yes, we are. What's up, guys? It's your boy McKinley Crain here. And today, I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the 2014 action comedy horror film, which is Blood Punch. So, Blood Punch is a clearly low-budget horror film. It's I think it's an independent film too. Um, but it's great, and it's a lot. It's like it's more fun than you would expect. It's more fun than you would expect it to be. It's great. It was it was a really I had a really good time watching it. It was a really enjoyable movie. Um, so it stars Milo Cawthorn as Milton. Who is like uh a young adult. He looks like he could be 23 at most. Um, and he's like in a the movie starts out, well, it doesn't start out there, but basically at the beginning of the story in the movie, he's at rehab, and then he meets Skylar, who's played by Olivia Tennant. Who realizes that Milton is a very academically intelligent human being. Um, and the reason why, it turns out that the reason why Skylar had even gone to the rehab center in the first place was to look for someone to cook meth for her, because she assumed that people who had been there had had known a lot about like how to get and make drugs, because you know like not of course not everybody at like a rehab center is gonna know how to make drugs, if you know what I mean, or like cook drugs, or just find the ingredients for drugs. Well, some are. There's gonna be a chance that some are. And so she found him. She found one, and so she basically convinces Milton into just working with her, like leaving the escaping and leaving the rehab center with her, and basically going to a cabin in the woods to make and sell crystal meth. Cook and sell crystal meth. And basically, um, their pickup driver turns out to be Skylar's boyfriend, whose name is Russell, who's played by Ari Boyland. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And he's a psychopath. If you couldn't already tell from the look on his face in the previous picture, um, he's like supposed to be a sociopath and a psychopath, who's very fast talking and witty and manipulative. And so basically, I forgot to mention that Milton actually started liking Skylar when they were at rehab. So basically, now that he knows that she has a boyfriend, he's pissed, and that creates like this whole love triangle thing. And then eventually, let me just say that something, I can't say what, something happens and something goes wrong that causes Milton and Skylar to relive the same day over and over again, and be trapped in a time loop and have to figure out how to get out. And let me tell you, this is a very enjoyable watch. This was a very enjoyable watch. This is a very enjoyable movie. It's not for everyone, but it's for it's for me. It's my kind of movie. And it is for a lot of people, even though it's not for. There's some people this movie isn't for. There are also a lot of people this movie is for. The other critics liked it too. It's got like an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I can't remember the audience score, but the critical score is 89%, which is pretty good. Which is actually a great Rotten Tomatoes score if you didn't know. And it earns it. It's great. This is a great movie. The acting is great. The cast is great. The characters are great. In my opinion, Ari Boylan gave the best performance in this movie as Russell. Even though the whole cast was great. Second place would have to go to Mal Cawthron as Milton. But the whole cast is great. It's just that Ari Boylan gave the best and most convincing performance in this movie, in my opinion. I love this movie. It's a horror movie, so it's got a lot of horror stuff in it, and the horror stuff works very well. But it's an action comedy horror that's got a lot of comedy and a lot of action in it too. And the comedy in this movie, aka the humor, works very well and it's very witty humor. And I loved it. I love the humor in this movie. And it's just a very great movie. And the action in this movie is awesome too. This movie is a low budget movie, right? But they use their budget to their best. They do the best they can with their budget, and it really shows. The special effects look great for a movie with this low of a budget, and I love this movie, and it's just a great movie, and it's got great writing in it. It's got a great story. It's got great twists and turns. It's a mostly unpredictable movie that can be predictable at some times, but predictable in a good kind of way, and unpredictable in a good kind of way. Both that both benefit the story. And the writing in this movie is very clever, and the dialogue in this movie is very clever, and this movie was just really fun, and the chemistry between the characters in this movie is great. These characters don't always get along with each other, and it's really fun to watch them just kind of deal with that. And I love this movie. The execution is great, the editing is great, and the ending was very satisfying and great. Nothing in this movie is perfect. This isn't a perfect movie, but this is a great movie. And there's nothing wrong with this movie at all. This movie is both original and unoriginal. The idea of a time loop movie, like reliving the same day over and over again kind of movie, it's been done many times before. It had been done many different times before this movie had came out. It all started with the movie Groundhog Day, I think. I know the movie Groundhog Day is what made the genre, the time loop, kind of the time loop mini genre or whatever movies popular in the first place. But like, yeah, it takes the unoriginal, like, concept of, reliving the same day over and over again, and takes its own original spin on it, like, uses it in a creative and original way. And it's original in a good way, and it's unoriginal in a good way. That both benefit this movie's story. Anyway, I'm going to give this movie an 86% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A-. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.